Please, and you'll be able to.
Okay.
Uh,
Do I need to move anything? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. I think everybody is here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting of the MN Spear Library Building Reuse Committee to order. Today is Thursday, May 14th, 2026. And this is a hybrid meeting. So the committee is meeting in person here at Town Hall. And we're also meeting remotely too. The meeting is being recorded. And let's go ahead and go right into the meeting. So first thing is we have minutes from, we only have a couple of things on our agenda today. One is to go through our minutes from our last meeting, then to talk about our final report to the select board, and then just kind of go over next steps and perhaps talk about a final meeting. So we have minutes from April 30th, 2026. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of April 30th, 2026?
So move.
Okay, discussion, do we have any edits?
I had a minor edit that I'm trying to find now.
Okay,
It's mostly for future reference, I guess. There's an important distinction between leach, L-E-E-C-H, and F-E-A-C-H.
Could be a new industry.
Yeah, interesting idea to have a
Everything's
field of sucking invertebrates. Yeah, so I don't know that we need to change it, but at least for the future, we'll make sure we get it right.
we could correct it. What page is that on?
That's what I'm trying to find.
You're on A1B at the end of.
Right.
1B.
One of the two of them,
Oh.
I know, and that's one of them,
Okay,
and I'll find the other one.
you're just auto-corrected.
It's C, 2C.
There it is. Very good.
Right. Thank
All right.
you. Stephen? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else in the minutes? Okay. All right, hearing none to oh, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Johnson, I.
Mosier, I.
Dalmas, I.
Lion's Eye.
Farrell, aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think we were gonna talk about a couple of things, both about our original charge, and then maybe we can do that in the context of this draft final report that I prepared. So just I think as Brennan mentioned, I drafted the report and I kind of like ran out of steam towards the end. And I really felt it was more appropriate that the committee kind of come to the final recommendations. I kind of got to it and I said, oh. Let's do this as a group. And I think if we don't finish today, it just will have time for everybody to kind of absorb and, maybe we have one more final meeting and put the last touches on it. But, if we get it done today, that's great. So the format that I followed was just, again, kind of repeating again what we've already done, like giving the background and then listing the work plan, which I tried to follow, not word for word, but in spirit, the reuse committee charge and purpose that was laid out. And so I detailed that and then went kind of item by item and saying what we did and didn't do. I think there was really only, one item, that we didn't do. I mean, I kind of, and that was number 3, which was like looking at peer communities. I actually had looked at Leverett,
Mhm.
to see if there was anything there because I felt that was the most like current one and kind of was parallel to Shutesbury.
Mhm.
And there really wasn't much there. So, I guess in essence, we could say we did it, but we didn't, the whole committee didn't do it and I chose not to bring it forward. So, what I'd like to do is, if you had an opportunity to go through this, to get your comments, I'd ask that we not spend our time if there are grammatical errors, spelling, punctuation, like, we'll just give that to Brennan. One of the things that group punctuation exercises drive me nuts, so that's my personal, bias in doing this, but I'd like to focus on content, substance here today. And what did I miss? Where do we need editing? Either additions, deletions, is anything really needs to be removed or added, and then get to the conclusions. One thing that struck me as I was doing this was, when I asked Brennan, I said, how many meetings do we have? Can you just like add it up? And I don't think this report reflects, and it's hard to reflect all the hard work
Right.
that we did,
Mhm.
because there was so much, and I don't know, maybe there's something that's missing here to really, that we need to incorporate some more. But I think by putting the addenda in there, that kind of shows,
Yep.
yes, there were other, getting that matrix done, getting the floor plans done, the questionnaires done. We did a lot, and I think it was I'm really pleased with how well this committee worked together and how everybody, stepped up, and we were able to kind of like lead the meeting, and people had their assignments and like did it and brought, it's like the way committees can work really effectively, because in meeting an hour and a half or 2 hours every 2 weeks, you can't do all the work. So it's been a real pleasure for me to have such a competent and dedicated group of people. So that being said, I don't know how you want to proceed. We can go like section by section, page by page. Anybody want to launch into, comments?
I have one for section 1,
Sure.
a second paragraph.
When you say section 1, okay, so can you just say like
Lots of
introduction,
one.
background? Well, yeah,
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah, it's in the work undertaken.
okay, yep,
Page 2.
page 2.
In that second paragraph, conceptual plan.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't so much a lack of clear state guidelines as it's too early.
Okay,
And I feel like lack has some weight that too early. So instead of saying the lack of clear state guidelines, I'd say it's too early for state guidelines.
okay. So,
That's just a suggestion.
okay, so the legacy guidelines, so the state my understanding is state guidelines are still in the process of
Yeah.
being developed.
Uh-huh.
Okay, should we say something to the,
Okay, so could say, but the state guidelines are not.
yeah, the state guidelines have not been, developed? Okay,
Finalized at least.
yeah. I don't even know if they've been I
Is that
don't
right?
know if they're in draft. They're being discussed.
And we're hoping that they figure out that small towns are different than cities.
Right.
That way, I don't think the guidelines have been developed that split it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say have not been developed. How's that? Is that,
The way that's worded, it's that the lack of developed guidelines refers to booking spaces. Is that the
oh,
way it's
no,
meant to be?
no, it doesn't. You're correct.
That's an example,
Comma.
that's an example, because the first part of that sentence says, determine that the needs of the police department were significant.
to the need for a booking space, but the lack of clear state guide, yes, it was separate. It wasn't about booking space, but the lack of clear state guidelines as to what is required for a police station
Right.
makes a final determination challenging.
So we can just put a comma after
Yeah,
booking space
yeah.
and
Yes,
uh,
that I will take the comma punctuation.
okay, sorry.
No, because any sort of, clarification, yes, that's, yes.
Okay. Well, general comment, Rita, I thought this was great. I thought you did a really, really good job on
Thank
this. The couple comments I had, one was a specific one. Addendum E is not in here yet, and I assume that's still coming from Donna. Is that?
Oh, Donna's email,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so let's
Did you,
just
I
remember
shared that with everybody, right?
Yeah, the one,
I think we had that last, where is that, Paul?
the reference to it is right at the end of the main text, I think, really.
Text. Oh,
At the bottom
okay,
of
so that's addendum, yeah,
Three, I guess is.
yeah,
that?
it's in number 6.
Right.
Addendum, okay.
Um, I felt that it might be good, maybe this is something we could talk about today.
Yeah.
Whether we actually have a recommendation.
Yeah.
Something a little more meaty,
Yeah.
than just, we're gonna throw it onto your
Yeah.
laptop, like board,
Yeah.
something a little more
Yep,
definitive. And then the final question I had is whether we want to provide more of the actual results of the survey in the appendix, one of the addendums, or right now you just include the surveys themselves and then kind of summarize the results a little bit in the text.
yeah, that would be good. I'm trying to remember, Susie,
have-
you did a compilation.
compilation of the comments
Yeah.
and a table.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
This is the table.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And then this is the compilation of
comments. So let's include both of those. 'Cause I think that's really,
Yeah, and it shows
shows that,
like
yes,
the data that we actually have.
yeah.
The
You
information.
need me to send them?
Do you have those, Brennan, and, what's input goes under section 2? Oh, no, that's under the work. Okay, so,
And Susie, are the verbatim comment
One,
attributed to
yes.
uh,
the
okay,
individuals and maybe we
Not to the individuals, to the committee.
to the
questionnaire.
committee or department. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Maybe we should just scan that at some point, make sure there aren't, things in there that we don't necessarily want to put out publicly, and then we can, well, I suppose it's all public
Do you want me
information,
to
isn't it, at this
email
point?
you all this to look at again?
Well, I mean, how do others feel about that? I mean, people are just kind of writing down their thoughts there, and I don't want to embarrass anybody, by,
I didn't notice anything embarrassing.
yeah,
but
it's
I
it's
might-
been so
I'll
long.
send it out to you.
Okay, yeah.
POA came in late. Yep.
Yeah, do you think doing more of a summary or?
Well, yeah, I mean, if there were things in there that, we don't necessarily want to, just put out, then we should just, yeah, summarize all the comments without attributing them to individuals, because some of them were actually
Yeah.
individuals that wrote,
I think everything was represented as a committee response,
Okay.
word or committee
The
response.
other thing that we should be aware of, though, is that some of the individual comments, that we got that may now be attributed to a board. The person specifically said, these are just my own comments. I didn't run them
Right.
by the board or the
Right.
committee. So
Right, so
again,
that-
those are the kinds
that
of things
will
I'm concerned about, I guess.
So Susie, so there was a summary of the results. and a compilation of comments. So what I would say is the summary of results and a compilation of comments can be found as addenda C1 and C2, we'll say. Yes,
So like in the assessors, because we asked the assessor.
Right.
the Clerk's response, not met as a committee to discuss, and then it gives their response.
So you actually said that in the,
Yeah.
in the summary, okay.
that changes all the other addenda.
So.
Good catch. Yeah, I think the more that's in here, the better a document it is, because when we're long gone, somebody's looking for stuff.
Yeah.
Then it's all placed.
And it better reflects
Yes.
all the work. we did.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So is this the stuff you want from Donna?
Yes. Yeah. Good to go. This would be F. Donna's F now. This is V. Yeah, okay, great.
So I'm gonna send those comments to the members and they're gonna read them, and Brendan, if you don't have the table or the comments and you want them, let me know.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. Yeah. I do have a comment for page. Pages on this.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
This page.
I have to give you a little, tell you a little story. The last week, I did something to my computer. I don't know. I had to wipe out my entire, I need a desktop for doing so. I had to wipe out my entire computer and like start from scratch. And I am not a computer person. And I can't even tell you. So my setup, like I didn't even, I had nothing on my computer. Anyway, so trying to like do anything for me has been so painful. So even finding, like reload. I felt like such a victory. I was calling Brendan going. So anyway, but yes, we'll number the page.
Yeah. So on page 3,
Yeah.
which starts with the 3 at the top, it's the work undertaken by the committee.
Mhm.
They're actually in section 4. One of the comments that was made at the public meeting was Leslie following along about the idea, this could be, this police department could be at the highway department. And it's like,
Oh, right.
no, but I think that that's a piece
Yeah.
that's out there. People
Yeah.
think that way.
Yeah, okay.
We weren't charged to figure that out.
No,
And in fact, that comment really didn't get carried anywhere that I remember
Right.
afterwards.
Oh.
But I was gonna say, let's see, it was, they had questions were raised regarding the load bearing of the building, relocation of the police station to Spear. And I guess I would say maybe when the questions were raised, it would be, could we consider moving the police department to the
Yeah.
highway buildings?
Yep.
And I don't remember offhand any other significant comments
Yep.
were made, but that's Leslie being sort of a meta. She's got history.
Yep.
She can see it in a historical way.
Yep. Great.
Has there been any other public comment coming in, either to the select? or-
No. Mm,
Okay,
No.
Not
surprised.
until this is put out.
Well,
Well,
then they have to read it.
Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
No one ever asked me.
I don't impress me. Well, and I often think that until you are asking for money,
Mm.
wanting to spend money, yeah.
In number 3, do we want to say,
Yeah, I could
say mention leverage?
I'll mention leverage. Okay, I'll add
Mention it to you.
yeah, okay. Yep, I will say. I will say, we looked at Leverett. Yeah, I sort of thought about that afterwards. I think they just had something at their town meeting. I'll find out what it was about about the Fields Library too. Might have been asking for more money because they had hired this guy from Northfield
Yep.
to, they spent like $19,000, I think, to do more or less what we just did.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
We can divide that.
pay ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, and I'll try to get that update.
No, as I remember, the one takeaway from that meeting where we
With the
engaged the
select board?
public
Yeah,
and solicited public input.
Yeah.
There was a lot of interest in the septic system.
Mm,
And I felt like that being brought up at that meeting was what kind of turned our attention really more in a focused way to
mhm,
trying to figure that whole thing out.
mhm. Okay, so I can
Questions
highlight
were
that.
regarding.
Questions regarding septic system.
Because I think a lot turns on whether or not this place has running water.
Yes.
And that I think
And we were already
to trying to figure out the use. If you don't know if it's
Yeah.
gonna have water or not,
right.
it's very difficult to figure out what.
We had already determined that, but it was.
Yeah.
very important.
They
Yeah.
needed to, you know what I mean? Yeah.
People needed to hear that.
I mean, I felt like we were trying to come away with some sort of, as a committee, with some sort of instruction.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it seemed like that.
Nobody wanted to do it.
That was the
This
one
is like
thing.
playing racquetball, right?
The one thing that we could kind of agree on was that we needed
Yeah.
to figure out if it had water, if we would
Yeah.
have water or something.
And I think that somehow I did not, and I might have read it too fast, but I didn't get the sense that really we kept going around in the circle of, well, use determines this, not, and then that determines what we need. And so I think that's the statement we need to use. So in the end,
Is that a conclusion?
I think it's in the recommendation,
Yeah.
the next steps, we could put something that, you know,
Use determines what you do.
yeah.
Yes.
But, and then what it takes to do that is the next, it's.
I think that's
very
correct.
balanced.
Yeah.
Unbalanced.
The other thing, in recommendations and next steps, I don't know if this is worth adding, but the, final statement in the first paragraph, the two issues that were examined in detail by the committee and reflected in outline form in this document related to the need for well and septic system for the Spear Building and the extent of renovations needed if the building were to be converted to another use. Well, we did get, pretty good idea of, what an engineering study would cost for the Spear. But we don't know until an architect or engineering is involved, the extent of the renovation. So I didn't know if what could just be added to that would be, while to determine the full extent, architectural and engineering services will be needed.
Yes. Yep. I'm just going to make a declarative sentence to determine
The full extent, architectural and engineering services will be needed. This is somewhat an aside. When I was preparing a brief report I gave at town meeting, it occurred to me that, let's say the decision is made to go forward with the bathroom. Well, that bathroom and the components will need heat,
Right.
year round
Right,
or all winter.
right. Right.
And that's going to be another cost because that little room is currently unheated
Right.
and the,
That
say,
would be-
water heater
thought we thought about that. Oh, we called it moderately higher for utility costs for adding the bathroom.
But you could put like electric heat in there, right? And.
Well, you could put
Yeah.
just a straight electric, but that's
Yeah, no, I
terribly
know,
expensive.
I know,
So
leave it running.
you want to
Yeah.
try and figure out
Yeah.
something that's not, I mean, sure, you could put something in it, but you're going to need something probably in the basement
yeah.
below, because that's where the water lines are coming in, and that's where
Right.
the little water heater would be.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be something in that location with just a vent in the floor to let the heat rise. And you could set it at 40. And
Yep, yeah. I like the idea because of, as Susie was suggesting, of kind of driving this to the use. And that a decision needs to be made, what's the best use? So, you know, what something that happened, you know, since the post office,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
somebody,
this is.
somebody, okay, I don't know where it was, it's like where, some other way. You know, so well, let's make the Spear Building the post office, you know, so that's sort of what happens. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, after like all, you know, all that we've done,
right,
all I could think about was public construction, everything that would need to be
Right.
done. It's like, you don't flip around and
Right.
the building automatically become, you know, public building and, you know, so forth. But, you know, long term, yeah, you know, maybe you could do something like that. I don't see it happening, but it just happens. The town has also, the town has been willed another property in Shutesbury. And the select board needs to, you know, make some decisions about whether or not it's gonna accept it. It sort of opens up some potential opportunities.
Mhm.
And there hasn't been any kind of, you know, public discussion about it yet, but it will be brought to the board at some point and to the building committee at some point, perhaps.
I think we didn't make it clear. We need to understand ourselves that the survey had other uses, and we zeroed in on asking the boards what they needed and saying there was a need that's municipal based, not
Right.
all the other ideas. I think we need to say that
Yeah.
because we will be continuing to get these
Yeah.
Other,
or, you know, maybe we're not in that place. Maybe we aren't convinced.
it did, I thought about that and so in our charge and purpose, the purpose of this committee is to consider, the analysis should include future uses by the municipality, including municipal offices and other potential uses by boards, committees, and town organizations.
Right.
So really, that was our charge.
Yeah.
Our charge was not to open this up to anything beyond.
Right.
And so I think if asked, we
Yeah.
would say that was not what we were charged with
Right.
doing. It was simply to focus. And should the select board decide we don't have a municipal use for it, we can open this up. It's, you know, they could decide, like a town can dispose of real property. But the complexity is that this building is on town common, on the town common.
Right.
So you could do nothing to change the footprint.
Right.
And the whole issue of like septic, like say somebody said, well, I want a cafe and, you know, I want to put in a bathroom. Well, suddenly it's a very different story if private entity were putting in a bathroom versus a municipality getting a permit for putting in a septic system on the town common. So that really,
Right.
is yet another reason why kind of all those other, anything other than a municipal use is very tricky.
That's a really important point, that if it's not clearly stated already in here,
Yeah.
maybe we need to beef that up.
Where
So
would you
maybe
put
it would be,
In
either
Donna's?
beginning of one, given that the charge was to look at use for
Okay,
municipal
what
offices.
page?
Page 2.
Whoops.
So the work undertaken by the committee could either say we were guided, so it could be
Yeah.
by reviewing its charge. It could be up in that paragraph.
Right.
And then say that we were guided by the
So,
use of municipal offices and potential use by town boards. Blah, blah, blah.
okay, so
So reiterating that one piece
Hmm.
in that paragraph where we're going into our work might help.
do you want to dictate that, Susan?
No.
You said it so eloquently.
So,
I think it's important enough that it should be right up front here instead
Right.
of down in.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
in that first
On the
paragraph,
first Paragraph under work undertaken by the committee.
Right.
We were guided by,
Mhm.
the committee's charge,
Mhm.
committee's charge. Committee's charge to focus on municipal uses, right?
Yeah, municipal offices and potential use. We can go right out of the charge. It's that first paragraph,
Yes.
the charge.
And should I say something, like put something in, the location on the town common precludes this property from many commercial, or it would be really difficult. It's not impossible, but as Donna lays out in her thing, when you start when you start messing around with public land, like let's say somebody came in, they wanted to, then you have to create comparable public land. Like if you take part of the town common away, you have to create public land somewhere else in town. So,
So maybe not so much preclude, but you can say because.
It's
this is
complex.
Located on the town common, it's subject to E.
yes, due to the location on the town common. Any
Right.
non-municipal use.
Well, any use, period. Even ours is subject to.
Okay, but we would have an easier time.
Yeah, but
Due to, so any use
is
Is-
subject to.
is subject to. Subject to,
Bunch of guidelines.
no, is subject, I'll just reference the Donna's thing.
Yeah. And that'll be in the addendum, so
Yes.
go look it up.
Yes, subject to, and then reference Donna's.
Well, if someone's reading that and it just says any use rather than saying any use other than municipal, it might be a little clearer or easy to understand that if you wanted commercial or let's say residential, that's really going to raise serious issues.
Yeah,
I think you want to
okay.
keep that
Sure.
distinction.
all right, so just say, all right, so I'll leave any non-municipal use.
Yeah.
Has. I'm not gonna say has complexities, but if I can find some word,
The state rule.
yeah, that is subject to, because it's also the procurement, it's chapter is.
As important as that is, it's not part of our charge anyway.
It is,
So, I'm just wondering.
Which
it
is
Feels,
what is.
well, the whole concept or reasoning why, any kind of non-municipal use would be a whole other ball of wax. we're charged with just looking at municipal needs and uses. So I guess my feeling is that it seems like it fits perfectly into like a footnote where you could really explain everything, go into some detail, but not make it part of kind of the official report because it's not our charge anyway. So if we could just say something up in that for introductory paragraph there about, our charge was to look at municipal needs and uses. And then have reference to a footnote where you could, reference a lot of this other stuff. We'll just keep this cleaner up here and, stay right off the bat. We're not considering any non-municipal uses because it's not part of our charge.
But I guess I would argue that well, we didn't really talk about it. We didn't talk about non-municipal uses. But
The comments did, I'll tell you.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's what I said.
Instead,
In here, but has a footnote rather
Yeah.
than as part of our official report.
noted any other place, and I'm a little concerned about a footnote. A footnote would get complicated because it would be, you would,
Brennan can,
you, no, not the mechanics, not the mechanics. It's like, what you would be referencing, so, so chapter 30B is the state's, procurement.
right.
And so there's a whole section on, real property acquisition and disposition, and then,
What about just in this part, instead of a footnote, say, see addendum E or, E,
Here's another
it
thought.
references E.
What if you just
That's a-
put the comment in parentheses, or just at the end, just put note and then add that as a separate comment?
So keep it right up there,
Keep
but
it up
in
there.
like in parentheses.
Yeah,
Somehow divided as
yeah,
separate from.
yeah.
and. Okay,
And just to broaden this a little bit too, we considered current municipal use. We didn't look at possible municipal
that's true.
use at all.
That's true. Future municipal use, right?
So all we looked at is the people that are here doing what they're
Right.
doing right
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
We didn't think about possible municipal uses for other things that the town could do
Yes,
in the future because suddenly this thing opened up,
right.
which was also, kind of in the air. for
Yeah.
People that weren't involved in using this particular building in the space that we have. I feel like we consulted the people that are currently using space.
Yes.
But we didn't really think about people that might want to use space, which is
Yeah, we
Completely
did go,
reasonable,
yes, we did go a
right?
little bit
Completely
beyond, like,
reasonable,
there's
but-
some people that was surveyed, like, I think, who answered, I was gonna say next one. I was thinking
Village neighbor.
Village neighbors,
Yeah.
village neighbors.
yeah,
I can't remember the nerd.
Recreation talked about using
Right.
it as a free store.
right.
Right.
Yeah, or if you look at Wendell turned something into like an opportunity shop kind of,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So there's a lot of different kinds of uses that we never,
right.
it kind of came up, but we didn't really focus on that.
Right,
And I think it's reasonable that we didn't focus on that.
yeah, and I think
Because
we could.
we were
put
trying to
current,
focus a little bit on the physical aspects of what needed to be done there.
yeah,
In a very general way, I think in our discussions, at least, we talked about the concept or the idea that adding plumbing, kept more options open for the future in that space. We didn't get specific about what those might be, but we did talk generally about keeping the options
Yeah.
open for the future.
Yeah. Because I think use is a really broad term,
it is.
really
It
broad.
is.
Right.
So Stephen, can you like do a little draft for that section? You don't need to do it right now, but for the next meeting about how we might word that, and then we'll come back to it.
This is in the work undertaken by the committee.
Yeah.
That it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
And like Susie said, I think if you add in there, the reference to addendum E also.
Yeah.
would be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
People want to explore that further, they can.
Yeah. I don't think Donna, she does not reference the public instruction stuff, but I'm pretty sure at one of the meetings, I know I had it in my file here. I brought, the, um, 30B chart. If any of you recall looking at, it's the procurement, the state's procurement guidelines.
Oh, right, because
That's
sort of
yeah, I was,
make it easy just to,
I had my
oh,
file
I think I might have.
read out on my desk.
Part.
I got everything really messed up. I think it was only for kids considered. Here it is. It's building construction contracts. Yeah, so this is what I had shared with everybody. This was for, this is just building construction. This isn't about, this is just about what has to be publicly bid and stuff.
Right.
That's not the 30B. 30B guidelines.
Can't do it ourselves.
That's a lot. I mean, that would start. Used.
Right.
So, yeah, let's stay away from that, for now.
Use us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do brain damage. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a note. Go through that. I figured we can wrap this up in our meeting.
Yeah.
Pretty good with that,
Right.
since my time is up to later than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
In terms of kind of the recommendation
Yeah,
section,
yeah.
you know, I've been trying to, you know, put myself in the place of the select board members.
Yeah.
Okay, so I received this report, you know, realistically, what am I thinking? You know, where can we go? One is, well, the do nothing option, you know,
Right.
whatever that means is kind of
Right.
attractive to me right now.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have any money, da, da, da. So, you know, what does that mean? I want to make sure we kind of spell that out, you know, well
Mhm.
enough, maybe go a little bit further than what our matrix actually
yeah,
says about that. The other option is, well, let's make it, you know, more functional, police station or whatever. What really does that mean right now? So, you know, if we want to at least be able to throw out a ballpark estimate of, you know, this is what it would require. It's likely to cost, you know, in excess of $100,000, whatever. That at least I think would kind of, you know, present the two main options that I would think select board members right now would want to be able to consider. Don't do anything major, continue to use it minimally, keep the insurance and da, 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 versus let's really do something and make it functional. Seems like those are the two main decisions, you know, options that I would, as a select board member, want to have a better handle on.
so
So-
what if it was like do nothing? If it's do nothing, you, it needs to be in continuous use.
Well, I don't think it's called do nothing.
Right.
On the chart, it's called space becomes meeting space only. And I think that's very legitimate framing of it.
Well, I put that as number 2 because I put maybe meeting space and then meeting space with bathroom.
Well, isn't that what this chart says? Number
Yeah.
1 is meeting space only, no bathroom, and number 2 is adding bathroom to
Yeah.
sphere building. And that one doesn't say use. The other one says use. The first one says use. Second one just says, here's the new thing. And then the third is use as a police station. So I feel like that's,
Well, what if we said meeting space for storage?
Okay.
And then no bathroom. Second, we say meeting space bathroom. And then
oh, it
third,
is storage too.
it's storage.
The number 2
Bathroom
is
storage.
no different other than the bathroom.
Right, okay. And then number 3 is police station for other offices.
Mhm.
And I guess what I was saying is that, you know, maybe we can simplify it into two, you know, main categories. One is minimal action right now, use it as storage, use it as meeting, whatever, without having to do a big expense it's really focused, my thoughts focused on the cost of doing something. Second main option, put a bathroom in, that opens up all kinds of other possibilities.
Mhm.
And then, the chart goes into more details about what those possibilities might be.
Yeah, see, I always objected to saying we were gonna put in a bathroom. I wouldn't want to put in the bathroom without thinking through everything else that should and could be done to that building. It sort of goes back to Stephen's point. As soon as you put in the bathroom, you have to deal with the heat. As soon as you deal with the heat, you're dealing with a big expense. As soon as you're dealing with big expense, like, why aren't you, you should think more broadly about this building. Why are we
And I
spending?
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just,
But all of that, could be addressed in the context of the second main option. That is
Right.
upgrading it with a bathroom so
Right.
that we open up all kinds of new possibilities. What does that mean? It's going to be a big expense initially. It's going to require heat,
Yeah.
for the bathroom.
yeah,
It's going to require
Charts.
codes, right? A lot of the stuff that's in the chart, but, actually address it a little more specifically
Yeah,
in
so
the text.
I guess you could put in the text, do more pros and cons of, where you could do a little bit of a narrative that goes with.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right. I know my man who's gonna write that.
I'm not sure it's pros and cons. I think
Yeah.
it's saying this is a platform. that's
Yeah, what it
limited one,
means.
And this is a platform and its uses are broader but undetermined.
So just a narrative then that goes with those alternatives. I
Right.
think that makes sense. And then,
Okay, you want me to
yeah.
take a stab at that?
That would be great.
Well, Susie has a good grasp on it too.
Yeah.
Brain dead.
Me too.
Okay.
Okay.
And by the
I
way,
think that's great.
if we're meeting in 2 weeks, I won't be here
Okay,
that meeting,
all
so
right.
just,
Well,
I mean, I can.
Let's meet in 1 week. and get that.
Brennan isn't here either, so he had posed, we could meet in 3 weeks. And that's June, what was that date, Brennan?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would be fine with that.
You're until July 1st.
Yes. Oh, my God. First, Mateo had thought
Yeah,
there was.
I don't have that
Town
town.
meeting vote in
Yeah,
1974.
I've known that and I cited that to you.
Oh, and I.
Okay.
Susie,
But I'm glad he looked it up because that's
Yeah.
mine.
that's what I thought, and I said June 4th. That's fine to me.
No,
I'm gonna be on the road.
yeah, I will.
What about next week?
Yeah.
All right, let's do another, what's next week's date?
This is 14/7/21.
Even if you're not here, we could do it next.
Yeah.
Next week,
That works.
Mary Jo,
Yes, that's.
Stephen?
I think so. I have to go to Springfield for a 2 o'clock appointment, so I'd need to be leaving our house by 1.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah, should be okay.
Yeah, this shouldn't take that long.
Okay.
And then we can be done.
Then we'll be done. Yeah, that's no,
Not long.
Yes.
Okay.
10:30, and it will be done in an hour, less than an hour. Because I think we just have a couple of edits and then wrap it up.
Yeah, do we need to go through any other paragraphs?
Yeah, if you guys have any other just like edits. So if you can make the edits, Brennan, that we talked about today, you have them all, I can give you my notes if you want. And just change those addenda. We'll add Donna's email. And
The next meeting is for.
is May 21. Great.
And if you're not there, I'll take notes. Fine.
So if I'm going to flesh out that recommendation
Yeah.
section a little bit, do we want to give a title or term to the first option? It's not a do nothing option, but it's not a platform one option necessarily either, right? So
Doesn't say do nothing on the chart.
What
right,
does it say?
right.
Do nothing?
No, it says Spear becomes meeting space only, no back.
Want to say meeting space only?
I think you can put storage in there too.
Meeting storage
Meeting
space,
slash
you know,
storage only.
okay. Okay,
And I would just, I just incorporate into that, that addresses the need for continuous use.
yeah,
The other thing our recommendations might say is that this is just a point in time. In terms of future needs, the town may, maybe revisit this chart
Right.
and
Right.
put its energies in some directions, and more information will be needed. And this committee won't come to that meetings. It does have to say that it's not a dead end or
Right. So, yeah. Great. Well, thank you all. That's great team effort. Anything else? We have our next meeting next week. And promise it won't be more than an hour.
Stephen have a piece, right? Is that it?
Yep,
And
it's gonna give us that one little
Yeah.
section. And you can just send that right to Brennan.
Okay.
And then, if you can get yours done and send it to Brennan, he could send out the next draft before
Right.
the meeting, so
Right.
everybody will have it.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to send out all the addenda again, just the redrafted, report. And then, we will, get it on the agenda for, that second, whichever, one of the select board meetings in June.
I have two pieces. I wanted to thank Stephen for your presentation at the meeting.
Oh.
Yes, oh yeah, no, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
the same thought.
This committee.
Yes.
And for reading
Yes,
it,
thank you.
thank you for writing the report. And then how should I follow up, or is there a follow-up for Chris Stoddard, who has this off, or whatever you call it?
Just, I think,
Tell him he,
thank him for his help. Stay tuned. You know,
Okay.
we're getting something back to the select board, and we assume that there would be, follow-up from them.
and he's dealt with towns.
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
No, that's fine.
The addendum E, that's gonna be the,
that's Donna's email.
okay, and we all have that, is that correct?
Yes, I believe I forwarded to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brennan did. Yeah.
if I can't find it, Brennan can
Okay.
send it to
It
me.
was April 29th.
Yeah, I probably,
Email. And then and do people want me to send the comments so they can look at what the committees and boards said? Want to review it?
I
or-
would like to
Okay.
review that. Yeah, thanks.
The report to come out.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Jason, I.
Close your eye.
Dallas, I.
Lions eye.
Carol, I. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.